they've got Carson Palmer. In short, their leading receiver, rusher, and quarterback are all over the age of 30. Can Adrian Peterson repeat what he did last week after being traded over from New Orleans, rushing for more than 100 yards? Against the Rams, you know, this is probably going to be my first home my first home team I'm going to take. I'm going to take LA to cover the 3.5 and beat Arizona. Now here's an interesting one for me. We have McCown versus Cutler. Now, if memory serves me correctly, a few years ago, Josh McCown was Jay Cutler's backup in Chicago. Jay Cutler was being Jay Cutler, and I'm pretty sure it was because of injury, though. Josh McCown got in, and the Bears had a better record under McCown than they did under Cutler. Well, now they meet in Miami. Cutler is now with the Dolphins, and McCown is now with the Jets. Miami must win this game by at least 3 points to cover. The Jets last week were a bobbled ball away, I guess is the best way of putting it, from potentially taking the Patriots to overtime. They played the Patriots exceptionally hard. Lost by 7, but it was a much closer game than that. The Dolphins have Jay Cutler. I'm taking the Jets. I'm taking the Jets to win this game. I feel good about this one. I feel really good about that one. Baltimore at the Vikings. The spread on this one is -5.5, so Minnesota must beat the Ravens by more than 6. I gotta be honest, I haven't seen a lot of Baltimore Ravens games this year. Looking at the spread and it being -5.5, it kind of tells me that Baltimore is not very good. They are traveling to Minnesota. It is a dome, so it'll be an even track when it comes down to weather, unlike it would be, say, in Baltimore if the game was there. The Vikings have had a revolving door at quarterback. Bradford, Case Keenum. I heard a report last week that Bridgewater is getting close. So their quarterback rotation in Minnesota may become a three-headed monster if it wasn't for Bradford's knee injury. You know what, dang it. I'm going to have to go with Minnesota in this one. Give a home favorite some love, because we have a home dog coming up next. We have Dallas traveling to San Francisco to play the 49ers. Dallas must win this game by a touchdown in order to cover. Ezekiel Elliott is suspended, but not suspended again. Earlier or late last week, his suspension was upheld. Earlier in the week, this week, his suspension was overturned again, I think is the way you put it, for the court system. Pending a hearing, it was appealed. And so Ezekiel Elliott is going to play this week in San Francisco. You throw in, their great quarterback, Prescott, Dez Bryant, Cole Beasley, Terrence Williams, Jason Witten, of course. They have an offense. They have a very good offense in Dallas. San Francisco last week, before the end of the second half, actually changed their quarterback, and so they're in a bit of a pale, there's not a lot going on right, let's say, in San Francisco right now. Plus, they have not won a game yet going into week 7. So, for me, I think this is a no-brainer. We're going to go with the Cowboys to cover the 6.5 points. Cincinnati at the Steelers. We're going to kind of run through these fairly quickly, right? Some of these a little quicker. Steelers must win. Yes, I'm getting this right. Steelers must win by 6 over the Bengals. Bell, Bryant, Brown, Smith-Schuster, Ben Roethlisberger. We're going to take the Bengals to cover the 5.5. Denver at San Diego. The Broncos were not San Diego, the LA Chargers now. Denver was absolutely embarrassed by the G-Men last week on Monday night. It is a 1.5 point spread, meaning Broncos must win by more than 2. They're trying to say it's almost a pick'em. I don't think this is a pick'em. I think the Broncos are especially their defense that was absolutely embarrassed last week by a team that you knew had no receivers, had to run the ball against you, and did, and won. Unacceptable. Broncos are going to be in an early mood when they head to LA for the Chargers. Speaking of the G-Men, they are at host to Seattle. Seattle must win this game by at least 6 points. 6 points. A couple years ago, this would have been a giant pick. Seattle coming east was never good. But under Pete Carroll and Russell Wilson, they have gotten a lot better at coming east and being more prepared. Again, Giants. Beckham Jr. is out for the year. Shepard is still listed as questionable, I believe, on the injury reports. But what I'm hearing about Shepard is it's not good. Of course, they will look at him again tomorrow and make a game time decision on him. So again, this means no receivers. They have receivers. You just don't want to use them. So Eli and his running backs are going to be home and to play the Seahawks. And the fans had better grinded out football, because there isn't going to be a lot of balls in the air. I am going to say that the Giants, just because if they can get their running game going, they're going to chew up the clock and keep the ball away from Seattle. The spread is saying that Seattle must win this game by at least 6 points. Let's have some fun and go with the Giants. I think the Hawks will win, but I don't think they'll cover. Falcons and Patriots. Patriots are favored on Sunday night by 3.5 over the Falcons. A Super Bowl preview. This game is in Foxborough. And having not heard a weather report for Foxborough or Massachusetts, it could snow there. And this coming from an Albertan, it could snow there in July, or whenever Tom Brady decides to turn on his weather machine to make it snow. Falcons are going to be coming in here looking for absolute revenge. They are going to want to take they're going to be wanting to just absolutely obliterate Brady and the rest of the Patriots. Brady, of course, is without his number one receiver, Julian Edelman. That's no big surprise. He was put on injured reserve, season-ending injury reserve, back in the preseason. Danny Amendola has been in and out of the lineup this year with injuries, and has been relatively quiet in fantasy. I had Amendola on a couple of my teams that we will get into here after our last break. I had Amendola, and he is rated at getting 5.9 points. So they're not even thinking that Amendola is going to get a touchdown. They're basically saying he's going to get 59 yards of receiving and no touchdown. And he has been ranked very, very low. Top receivers in fantasy generally are at least over 7, if not 8 or 9, for projected points in fantasy. Excuse me, frog in the throat. So, in this one, you got Matt Ryan coming in. You got Matt Ryan as receivers. You got Matt Ryan and his potent offense coming in against a very depleted Patriots defense, injury-riddled, giving up the most yards, the 32nd ranked defense in the NFL. And you hear all these little chirps in your brain, in my brain right now. Oh, Falcons are going to kill him. Falcons are going to kill him. Falcons are going to kill him. I'm taking the Patriots. That damn Tom Brady factor. What else are you going to say about that? Monday night, NFC East showdown. The Washington Redskins will travel to Philadelphia. Philadelphia is favored in this game by 5 points. They need to beat Washington by 5 points to cover. Carson Wentz versus, the guy gets absolutely no respect. Kirk Cousins. High-powered Eagles offense. And a lot of guys with no names. Okay? It is a very unassuming, impressive offense, but it is an offense that has been deadly all year. Washington receivers like Crowder, running back, who has just been, honestly, he's been a fantasy demon. And at the start of the year, he was, I believe, on third on their depth chart. And their number one guy has been battling injuries on and off most of the year.